Well, Super Mario Maker 2 has been out for a couple weeks, and as expected, a bunch of new and returning glitches have been found. And also, I promised to make this video, so here we are. There are a bunch of crazy glitches to look at, so before Nintendo pulls out its band-aids and starts patching them all out, here's a bunch of glitches in Super Mario Maker 2 as of the release date of this video. Right out the gate, here's something weird and pointless, requiring a couple simple things. Firstly, this can only be done in the Super Mario 3D World theme, while playing as the cat form of Luigi. If you crouch walk and then do a slide attack that has Luigi bonk while in a one high space, this happens. As far as I can tell, this setup causes Luigi's visual model to float up into the air or even down into the ground while he's still technically laying there crouched, so he'll go back to normal when you move out of this setup or stop crawling, so it's just a visual glitch, but it's still pretty neat. Now I do want to go back and forth between useless and useful glitches, so here's some potentially interesting mechanics. Firstly, if you have a semi-solid platform like so, with the seesaw's edge poking up from the bottom, you can actually clip through by ground pounding, which I don't think is intended. Still, if left in the game, it could be a neat mechanic for puzzle levels, like, for example, this example I made that requires you to use the glitch to get up to some red coins so that you can continue. Sure, it's not that groundbreaking, but I'm sure there's some creative people out there that can make use of that glitch. Along those same lines, there's another clipping method, though this specifically works in the 3D World theme. Unlike in the other themes, falling donut blocks in this theme actually collide with Mario, which to some extent push him around. If you stand right next to a steep slope as a donut block pushes you down, the game incorrectly clips you down through the nearby semi-solid platform. This can work when the slope is to your right or to your left. I imagine any block that pushes Mario down would have the same effect when paired with this platform slope setup, because as you'll see later on, slopes in this game are a bit weird. This next one doesn't have as many applications, but there's a neat glitch involving the Big Mushroom, which is exclusive to the Super Mario Bros. Theme. So while in Big mode, you'll want to hop into an available dry bone shell. Big Dry Mario can't jump up into one wide openings, and two wide openings don't do anything special. However, if you have him take a door which drops him off inside of a one wide hole that is against the right edge of the screen, he'll just sort of hop up whenever you hold right on the analog stick. I don't think it's supposed to happen, but again, that's another glitch for you. And another glitch that shouldn't work but does is the fabled x=9 glitch. Due to a weird quirk in the programming, whenever you jump into a dotted line block and hit the on-off switch here, you'll clip through. This only works when the setup is located exactly 9 blocks from the left side of the screen, hence x=9. It does also work on x=129 because sure, why not? This will work in the main 4 themes, though you have to duck while jumping in the Super Mario World and New Super Mario Bros. U themes. There's also a glitch involving spring that allows you to create one-way spring gates. But rather than trying to show it myself, let's look at this fantastic demonstration level made by all_Zand. Using Buzzy Beetle shells and springs, these setups rapidly bounce a nearby on-off switch or no block. As it happens, when you try to move against the springs while the block underneath you quickly bounces, the spring will actually let you slip right through, then bounce you away whenever you try to go back, hence the one-way part of the name. Just to see if it worked, I recreated that last setup using the note block, but I added a second spring to create a fork in the road. Mario can definitely get through either spring, but it's much less consistent and you can't exactly pick which direction you want all that easily. Still, it's a very neat glitch. Next, here's something annoying that you can add into your levels just to inconvenience the player. I don't think it's even a glitch, but I'm including it anyways. So usually from gold touch to black screen, it's about like 5 seconds. If you place a claw directly over the gold pole, as Mario completes the level, he'll be grabbed, which actually prevents the level from ending, at least for a bit. After about like 20 seconds of hanging there awkwardly, the claws will let go and he'll actually fall down and exit the level, having been slightly inconvenienced. If you add a second claw after the first, the level will actually end in the same amount of time, but he'll never reach the goal, which makes it sort of weirdly fade to black. Cool. Now, most of these glitches can be pretty fun to mess around with. These next few, maybe not so much. While creating a level with coins and pipes, if you're placing pipes normally and then placing the coins into them, eventually you'll hit the game's limit. If you wanted a bunch of coins in your level for whatever reason, you might instead copy the coin pipes and paste those, which actually lets you freely overload the game's limits on a specific item. When you try to save, you'll get a message that says the level data is actually corrupt. So yeah, maybe don't try to do that. Anyways, a glitch that was circulating just before Super Mario Maker 2's release was a way to crash the game using a fire flower, Yoshi, and a holdable object. This is actually a returning glitch from the first game, and as the informational Twitter page @MarioBrosBlog explains, If the player character is facing the screen and holding an item while landing on Yoshi and a fire flower simultaneously, the game will crash on the next frame. As we can see in the clip by Captain MK on Twitch, which is where the screenshots were sourced from, you're then forced to exit and forcibly restart the game. The timing on this glitch can be pretty dang tight, so while I doubt it'll actually pop up that often on accident, there you go. Somewhat related, there is a 100% reliable soft lock that can actually be encountered using a simple setup that takes less than 30 seconds to actually set up. Just place a warp box like so with the exit to the right of the solid block and a workable pipe underneath. When you go through as Cat Mario, hold down on the analog stick or D-pad, and Mario should immediately go through the pipe, but never come out. For some reason the game just loses him. The game's still technically running, and as you can see the timer's counting down, but you can't actually do anything, so this is a soft lock rather than a crash or a freeze. If you let it count down when the timer hits 0, nothing happens. So once soft locked, you'll be forced to reset the game in the system's menu. There's another 3D world glitch, but it's pretty minor, so here you go. The Magic Koopa enemies' attacks will transform certain blocks into an enemy or item at random. We know that. What you might not know is that this doesn't work on active spiky blocks, but when deactivated, the magic will actually hit the block, spawn an enemy, but the block remains. It's hard to tell at first glance, but the spiky block's collision is gone, so it can be moved through when active or inactive. You know, I don't think that's supposed to work that way, but I don't know enough about magic to know for sure. I do, however, know that items on tracks with a switch and a curve and stuff is not working as intended. If you want at home, you can replicate this setup pretty easily. When you hit the switch and allow the item to follow the bottom path, instead of latching onto the curve or falling, it'll seemingly disappear. It's happening so fast, it's hard to tell, but the item is actually being transported to the very bottom left of the screen before falling. As you can see here, it does travel across the space in between, and it'll instantly kill you if you're standing in the wrong place or any enemies which happen to be on the lower spaces. If you're standing in the way and the glitchy projectile's destination is on screen, you'll actually be pushed as far left as possible, which can actually let you pass through dotted line blocks. I'm sure there's a lot more that could be done with this glitch, but for now, I'll just toss in here that if you put a track at the bottom left of the screen, after sort of transporting itself over there, the item will attach itself to that track, but it'll be lower on the track than it should, which means it'll just sort of float under the lava, but you can still stand on it. Next, here's something with a thwomp. If you set it to move sideways, when it hits a note block, it'll hop slightly before returning to its original position, at least horizontally. If you place a shell just before the note block, when it bounces, it'll go really far, which could be used as a very weird diagonal elevator. I know we keep jumping back and forth, but over in the 3D world theme, a sideways thwomp can be used to give you a huge burst of speed. With roughly this setup, if you run and jump onto the thwomp and run off, you'll get flung sideways. A very similar glitch can be done in various other themes using the setup you see here. The key is to have the steep slope overlap with the bottoms of the turrets, which forces them into a space that's technically not big enough for them. As such, the left turret gets squished into the space of the rights, then gradually moves back to the left before oscillating back and forth in time with the note block. If you press left to move into the gap that the turret leaves behind and then immediately hold right, you'll actually be flung to the right, assuming you had the timing correct. And similar to the turret, if you place a Bowser next to a slope and then another slope as the roof, he'll get displaced a bunch, really fast. This actually slides him up towards the top. This works going left or right, though I wasn't actually able to get it to work with the big Bowser. And as for the 3D world theme, it might be possible, but I had no luck with either size Meowser. A similar glitch, which is also making a return from the first game, is the sticky fly, which can be demonstrated in this nice level made by flips_bad, which upon writing the script, might not actually be up anymore. But either way, to initiate it, you simply need to run to the right, and as soon as you bounce off the note block, let go of the analog stick and press and hold jump. It could be done without that initial setup, but it leads to Mario sticking to the ceiling for as long as you hold jump. It's neat, obnoxious to listen to, and it's likely going to get patched. Again, I mean, apparently they can get rid of it in the first game, but it decided to stick around for the sequel. Bumpers can also be used in tandem with the cape for something a bit more vertical. First off, here's about how high you can get by running and taking flight with the cape. Not bad. If you do this, but as you're landing on a bumper, press twirl, it can send you flying really high. The timing is very tight, so it can be hard to pull off consistently, As such, I wouldn't be surprised if this is a mainstay mechanic in Kaizo levels going forward. So far, we've seen all kinds of people and things take flight, so now it's the Chain Chomp's turn, sorta. We have a Chain Chomp in a 1 high opening, 1 space to the left, 1 space to the right, with no block to the right of that. They always spawn facing left, and as such have a consistent path that they take, bounces included. For whatever reason, as they bounce off the no block, they'll go gliding off into the distance. This works in all 4 main themes, and while it's likely possible to do this so that they glide to the left, I never found a way. Still, while gliding they behave a bit oddly. They'll glide at a steady pace, and they can be moved up and down using slopes. If they hit a wall, they'll lose all sideways momentum and fall to the ground and then stay in place. At any point, if they're grabbed by a claw while gliding, they'll immediately be let go with sideways momentum once again. Using that little nugget of information, I built this thing, which launches a number of them out because why not? A similar glitch can be done with the large munchers like so, however, they'll only slide across the ground rather than actually glide. Next, we're going to get into some very weird stuff. First, let me introduce you to a hidden block, door, and vine. Say hi. Anyways, if you hit a hidden block that has a vine in it and immediately go through a door, when you come back, the block will have its collision despite being invisible. You could also hit it again, which is nice. If you put an enemy in it instead of a vine and do it again, the hidden block will become a visible hidden block. So, like a block, I guess. Either way, this glitch is important to understand because it ties into a much weirder glitch. Do the first setup with the vine, but have the hidden block be layered over a mushroom platform. It'll still have the collision while invisible, but if you now ground pound the mushroom platform, a coin block will be created above the left edge of the mushroom platform. The original block is still very much there, and until it's hit, that initial platform won't actually have any collision. Also, any non-hidden blocks located on the left edge of the platform will be turned invisible, while the location of the glitched coin block will have their visuals overwritten. Taking it a step further, after activating this glitch with the hidden block and going through the door, any other platforms with a hidden vine block in them are also ground poundable, capable of spawning their own coin blocks. It's almost as if this glitch makes the platform sort of quantumly linked. If you do this but place a note block on the mushroom platform and then ground pound, it'll be turned invisible, which is expected. When hit, the note block becomes visible once more, but then if you bounce on it, the block teleports. The original location is seemingly empty, while the note block that we can see has no collision. I honestly don't know what's going on here, but I feel like this is a glitchy rabbit hole that can be more explored by those of you out there that are much better Mario Maker-ers than me. That said, since you are still watching, I'd like to reward you with a nice little Yoshi glitch. When stuck between a one-way gate and a note block, as lava rises, the Yoshis will become engulfed in nice, burning, molten rock before flying up into the air. Good to see that everyone's getting a chance to fly today. They only go up so far before falling back down. This is just a visual glitch akin to the Luigi one, but I think it's great all the same. Oddly enough, that reminds me of the Yoshi running in place glitch that we saw back in Super Mario Galaxy 2. It's a good time. Now, since we're running out of time on this video, I'm feeling nostalgic all of a sudden, so let's finish off a glitch that lets you stop time. I will pause for a moment so that you may post your obligatory JoJo comment, as is expected at this point. Now, the setup for this glitch is actually pretty similar to the one from Super Mario Odyssey as it happens. Just like in that game, you need to collect a power-up and, as that's happening, get hit. A consistent way to do this is to create this simple room and just hold up. As soon as you go through the door, you'll get the power-up. On the other side awaits a little spiky boy, which damages Mario and stops time. Or at least the timer, enemies, and you can't actually move him around. He can still be moved by a conveyor belt and activate location-based sound effects, which is nice. Whenever he inevitably is dropped into a pit, he won't die, but I assume fall forever. This works in all of the themes, including 3D World, but unfortunately, the goal flag cannot be hit. Otherwise, this would be perhaps the best way to create the world's worst auto level. With that, I think we're about done here. If there's any glitches that you encountered that I didn't include, be sure to share those down in the comments down below. And also be sure to leave a like if you liked the video, and subscribe if you want more videos from me, because speaking of, in the last week, we actually passed 150k subscribers, which is just awesome. So thank you for subscribing, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.